All right, you guys. So my guest today goes by the name of Chris Massaad. They are a husband and wife-owned digital agency working together to create visually stunning multimedia. Here's Chris Massaad. Enjoy the show.
Yeah, my company's Toro and Hare. I'm Toro, I'm the bull, and my wife is the hare, she's the rabbit. I'm pretty much the designer of the whole team right now, but I have a couple designers under me that are starting up, and we're expanding. I have one designer in Russia, one in America, and I have a couple others in America that I'm talking to. But my wife is the kind of behind the scenes. She is the manager, and is kind of the boss. But I lead everything, all the art direction and packaging and all that kind of stuff.
It's a good balance.
Yeah, exactly.
Very nice. And how many years? I didn't mean to interrupt you, Chris. How many years have you guys had Toro and Hare now for? This is the name of the brand, right? Toro and Hare.
Yeah, Toro and Hare. I started the company in 2016, so it's been 5 years, and I've been designing for 7 years.
Very nice. Can we get a little bit of background info on you, where you were born, where you studied? Where were you born?
I was born in Ohio, Cleveland. Grew up there when I was a child, and we moved out to Oregon, and I studied in University of Oregon. But my background is not design. I was actually a philosophy major in college, and this kind of led me down to the path of coming to Taiwan because I came here to teach English, but I hated it, and I was like, I need to do something different. I need to get out of this rut. So I taught myself design overnight while I was teaching during the day, and then eventually I got to a point where my skills were good enough and that I knew enough people that I could start doing work for them.
Wow, very nice. You did things like YouTube tutorials, I imagine, and you read up on blogs and consumed all the media you could at night while you were pursuing your teaching career.
Yeah. There was a couple programs. YouTube was good for certain things, but I needed something more comprehensive. So there were some sites that you could pay a monthly fee, and they would teach you all the programs. A lot of the times, I would try to find an artist that I liked, and then I would try to match their style. See, what can I do without actually having to do a YouTube tutorial. So it was actually many years it took to get to that point.
Very nice. So can we talk a little bit about what it's like if a brand approaches you, what the walkthrough process would be like? Let's say a brand approaches you, they say, "Hi, Chris, we're looking into your company and we want to create, an image for it. Where do we start from there? Do they need to have a logo established? Where do we go from there?"
So usually I ask them, what their business is going to be about, what's the industry that they're working in. And then I see if they already have a name, if they already have an idea of where they're going to be putting their logo and how they're going to be using it. And then I asked, if there's something in mind that they specifically have that they want to make, or if they want me to, construct it all. So it's kind of two doorways that I allow them to choose. Usually when a brand comes to me, they already have something in mind. But a lot of times, if I catch them early enough, they will want me to construct everything.
Very nice. And this is worldwide. People can find you online. You have a website. You have it's all digital.
Yeah. I have, Instagram is my main source of contact currently. I am in the process of building a new website. I have one I've used for a few years, but has all of my old portfolio. So I have clients in Taiwan. Most of them are in the States, Oregon, California, Colorado, Washington. And I think also I have some in Japan, in Singapore. So it's all over.
Very nice. And so, being that you're able to be found on social media, it's nice to be in what we're considering the digital age, right? Where we can just go ahead and get it out to as many eyes as possible with however many resources we're able to utilize, right? You have Instagram. You said you're on Instagram. That's the main one, right? Is it strictly and mainly Instagram?
Yeah, I'd say Instagram is probably it's the easiest to post on, and it's easiest for people to contact on.
It's image based.
Yeah, it's image based. Everything that I do is all imagery, right? So it's very suitable for what I'm doing. And I think that when I use Instagram, it's kind of a quick fix. Like people can see it real quick, and they can tap like, and it's easy for them. But as I'm growing, I'm finding that a website is more important because it allows me to really go into depth of what I do. Instagram is kind of like the frosting on the cake, but sometimes people want to actually see how the cake is made and how what it is that I go through. So there's a lot more processes going on in the behind the scenes.
They're able to really make that investment into the brand, and you're able to provide some substance for them, right? They're able to invest in what the image is and what the message is. You can lead them somewhere, not in somewhere so arbitrary like a single link. It's a designated place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like with brands, when a lot of them contact me, is they do want guidance and not just in terms of their design, but like what they want to make. They need to be able to understand like why it is I'm doing it this way. There's a couple books that I've read. There's one called Miller's Brand Story. It's talks about like how the brand is positioned in the market and how you should be taking your brand and showing it to people. It's like a lot of times people think that your brand should be like, the big showstopper. It should be like everyone should know about me. But actually, I find that a lot of the companies I work with, it's better if we position brands as like kind of as guides, as people that can help. And the consumer, the customer, or whatever the client that they're working for is the showstopper. They're the empowered ones, and the brand is there to help them. So I'm always trying to do that when I'm working with brands, is position them that way. That's my goal usually.
And what are your social media strategies like today? Are you running any ads on Instagram? Do you have any breakdowns for the month? Is it strictly you reaching out to clients yourself? What does that look like?
Actually, my Instagram ad account got shut down because a lot of my work is in cannabis space, and they said my artwork was not friendly enough for Instagram. But I actually don't need it. Though my follower list is not that high compared to a lot of other designers, I find that I still get enough people contacting me just by posting regularly. If I notice that if I don't post enough, then it doesn't get out there. But if I post weekly, like maybe 4 or 5 times a week, I notice that the clients start to come contacting. So I
Absolutely.
Instagram is great for quick messaging. I also use Reddit. Reddit is a fantastic site.
Reddit's great.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. You go ahead, please. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, I was just going to say Reddit's probably is where I got started. Actually, is because the people there are more inclined to like kind of talk with you more. It's more interactive, I would say, than Instagram. Instagram's kind of a quick. They like your post, put up some emojis, and that's it. But Reddit is more of they'll go into depth with you. You can have conversations, and so I like Reddit more actually.
Was that a conscious decision, you going to Reddit? Because it's interesting when brands look elsewhere to find audiences, reach their niche, whatever you call it, to really find that place where the audience can really get found. What was it with Reddit? Was it just you thought, hey, maybe if I post here I could get something, that's really interesting. You went in that direction.
Yeah, Reddit was, well, actually, what I used to do was I would post work on there that I wanted critiqued. There were some subreddits that I would go on, post my artwork, say, what do you guys think? What do I need to work on? I did that for a few years before I actually started getting client work, and I thought that was a very good thing, having community like that. Because here, it's just me. I don't have a design agency to look at my work, and I don't have an art director. I don't have, but when there's a direct community that can tell me if my work is good or not, it's very nice. And so I did that for a few years, and then I actually started getting requests. It got to a point, like, first I was not getting any requests, and then when my work started getting better and better, I started getting requests for commissions. And then as I started doing that, my work got exponentially better. And then, so I would choose subreddits based on the type of work I was doing. So if I'm doing cannabis, I would do certain subreddits for that. If I'm doing food packaging, I would do there's specific design subreddits. Then there's also, there's art pages as well, but you're competing against millions of people, so it's not, your post might not get up very high. So it depends, but I find that Reddit is really interactive.
Now, being that a lot of your work is found digitally on the web, how much of your time is being put into that marketing? That is it 50-50 Reddit on Instagram? How much of your time per day are you treating it? Because, a lot of people treat it like a full-time job, right? They're putting about 40 hours into this, just finding their audiences, reaching out, doing that stuff. It's like a storefront in many ways.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's interesting you say that, because currently I'm hiring somebody to actually take care of it, because it is a full-time job. There's some YouTube channels that I follow. They talk about design, and they talk about branding and agencies, and one of their rules is that your client list should never exceed about 10 people, because mentally we're not able to really handle more than that in terms of like a business relationship. And I'm finding that it's very difficult to maintain my work and also post on social media and also interact with the clients. It's kind of a three-prong problem, because you want to be able to do consistent work, but you also want to be able to interact with your customers. So that part is been kind of difficult. So I've actually slowed my posting down just so that I can catch up. And before, I was posting frequently, like once a day. I would do Instagram when I get up. And then Reddit, I post at the evening time here, but in the States, it's like between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. is the best time, because that's when you're catching all the East Coast people. And then the post will get throughout the day. It'll start in the East Coast and get to the West Coast. So it gains traction that way. Because most of the Reddit users are American. And then Instagram's kind of different. I still haven't quite cracked that one yet. It has a weird algorithm.
Right. But you've put a lot of time into it, so you understand some sort of its algorithm, and at this point, you know what you're doing with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with Instagram, you have to have it's like timing. It has to also be like the image itself has to be curated a little bit more, and also it's like the way people, if they comment on it, actually it gets bumped up more. Likes actually don't do much anymore. It's actually commenting and saving. So if someone saves your photo, you're doing very well within the algorithm, and so it kind of pushes you to do more. But I think that with Instagram, their platform is really based on sponsoring. So for me, my account, I cannot run an ad because I can't pay for it with my ad account shut down. So that kind of limits me in terms of my reach. But within my community that I have, my followers, it does pretty well.
Right. I forgot where I heard it, but as long as you get, 10, 100 loyal customers, you are in a good place. As long as they're loyal and they stick to you, you're in a good place. That's all you need. Just that established set of clients, a nice 10, 100, depending on your size, and you're in a good place. It's sort of like analyzation paralyzation when you bring the mass into your mind and you don't really know in which direction to go. But if you focus on getting 10 people, you go from there.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, I think a lot of people they see those numbers of followers. They see like someone, like I saw when I first started, and I saw some designers, they had like 30,000, 50,000 followers. I was like, wow, that's a lot of people. I want to get to that point. And I spoke with a couple social media influencers, and they said that number is it's inflated partially. They could also have purchased the account, but if you have 2,000 to 3,000 followers, and then you have, like you said, 100 people on there that's dedicated and loyal, and they want your work, then you're going to be busy. It's especially as a one-man team. Eventually I want to expand. That's what I'm doing with my agency right now. Is I'm hiring a couple other people to come do some work for me, and then I can kind of like establish a routine where I'm doing some work of some of the week, and then they can do others, and we can handle more clients, like a bigger web of people.
Very nice. All right, Chris. So you've been putting in work. You're expanding your team. You're now looking to hire so that you can get more output, essentially, and go ahead and expand the company.
Yeah. Currently, I have one designer that is like my right-hand man. He is in Colorado, and he does web design. He does packaging designs. He does logos and illustrations. So I can ask him pretty much do anything. And then I have another designer that's more of an illustrator. His work is very detailed, and I think I can use him for certain situations with packaging. And then I'm currently looking to hire a social media manager that will handle all the posts. Because like I think we said before, it's like a full-time job. It's not I was kind of naive when I first started doing that. It was like, oh, I can just, I'll have time to post it later. And then you get to a point where you're like, I don't even want to look at it right now. I want to be done with it, have someone else deal with it. So it's, so I'm currently in that process.
Very nice. Well, I'm sure you'll find somebody good, and it's about finding somebody that gets along with the entire brand and what it represents, so that they can go ahead and put that out there through the internet and through social media, right? That's what's going to go ahead and attract the audiences you guys want.
Yeah, I think for our brand, my goals, I want to kind of be seen as something that's high class, that something is very intricate and very, there's lots of detail to it. My art design is all about details. I would say that currently in the industry, there's kind of a dichotomy between having this minimalism style, like Apple and Google and Amazon, these big companies, right? They all have very minimalist look, very clean. And then I would say I'm on the opposite spectrum. I do more of like a vintage look of very detailed flourishes, flowers, animals, all sorts of things that people would see, from the early 19th century to up to the 20th century.
Intricate patterns that'll drive the eyes of the audience.
Yeah, more like art based. I would say that design is, the purpose of design is it's supposed to use imagery as a function to bring in somebody, to draw someone in, right? There's a message being said. I would say that my work is trying to use art more than function. So like I'm using beautiful artwork to draw the eye in, like you said. Now there's nothing wrong with minimalism, but for me and personally, I would say carving my niche in more of the art territory is easier for me. When you have to think about positioning yourself like as a company. You have to find your niche and you have to find what you're good at and blast that. But if you try to compete with the minimalist style, you have a very huge upward trend of large design agencies that have way more funding and way more time and way more things to do than you can. And me as as a personal designer, it's like I can't compete against that, right? So I can carve what I do now and just really refine it and make pump it out more.
Right. You can't be everything. If you're everything, you're essentially nothing, right? You have to find that niche and go ahead and capitalize 1000% tunnel vision on that and execute on that and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Finding what you like is, I think that's the biggest thing with starting a company nowadays is, especially with design, is do what you like. I mean, I feel that when you try to pander to people that you don't even want to do that kind of work, but you keep trying to do it, it's going to exhaust you and it's going to make you feel unfulfilled. But with the work that I'm doing, I'm trying to, I am trying to help the client, with their brand, but I'm also trying to make sure that I'm enjoying it. And if I'm enjoying it, actually the work comes out better. It comes out, more refined, way more detailed than, my previous work, and way more, comprehensive. If you're not enjoying it, you're going to try to cut corners. You're going to try to, get it done as fast as possible because you don't want to do it. So I think for up and coming designers, find something that you like. Your taste is what's important, and then the art will follow.
Very nice. Very well said, Chris. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Where can we find you on social media, Chris?
So on Instagram is Toro and Hare, ToroAndHare, and then my website, toroandhare.com. Those are the two main ones.
Very nice, Chris. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. And let's follow up with you in the future and see what you've brought into fruition.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you, Chris.